afternoon, everybody. Steve Engle here for TGI Sports Talk MLB update. Been a while, guys. I've been gone 2 Fridays. 3 unable to broadcast because of some technical difficulties. Did anything happen while I was out? I'm not sure if I remember. Okay, let's see if I can get rid of something here. Anyway, lots happened. You know, we had the Rangers held off the Astros and the Mariners in a great race in the West. We had a great race in the NL wild card. We'll recap all of that quickly. We had sweeps in all the wild card rounds. We got 3 wild cards in the NL and the ALCS. And I'll tell you why that's a bad thing. God, we're ruining baseball. First of all, I want to thank everybody for watching us today on TGI Sports Talk, on Northeast Streaming Sports, on Let's Talk Sports, on we're live on Roku now too, at 3 o'clock on Fridays. You won't be able to comment there though, so if you want to comment, you got to come to social media, but that's fine. The Roku people will enjoy that. And I want to thank all the groups that allow me to share the show to them. This show and the College Sports Huddle and Sunday Stream of Consciousness have been just the reception and the growth has been amazing in the viewership and such. And want to say not one last time, because I'll probably do it Sunday too. I've tried to do it on all my shows, and he'll remain part of my shows forever. My good friend and colleague from the founder of Let's Talk Sports, Dan Harris, who you know has been suffering with cancer for the last couple of years, really, and really had taken a serious downturn here this year, and suffered with disabilities his entire life, and led an exemplary life in my mind, especially these last few years as he's got involved with podcasting and helping other people get started and whatnot. So we lost a good friend. Watch my tribute to Dan. It's on my page. It's on the Let's Talk Sports page. It's on Sports Authorities, a few other places. I won't go into a lot of detail here because I did it there for 10 minutes. But Dan was an extraordinary person. Somebody I never met and somebody that I consider one of my best friends. He suffered a lot in his life, as I said. Did some extraordinary things, helping his siblings and helping other people who had tragedies in their own lives, sending out gifts. You'll see if you watch the tribute video. Just a tremendous guy. And he'll live on this show, as you'll hear DDH a lot. And that's how he'll remain here. Let's Talk Sports will go on, as you saw, or may or may not have seen Tanner D and the crew over there, Nick Botkins, Johnny Cruz, Steve Cote, and a whole bunch, Rob Logan. All those guys are going to continue to keep that dream alive for Dan. And I'll continue to contribute content, and we'll see what else comes of that. But we're going to do something, a couple of us anyway, to help keep Dan's dream of helping people, youngsters, get started in broadcasting, podcasting, whatever it might be. So more to come on that later. Dan, to my friend, Godspeed. Both saddened, as I've said several times now, both saddened and relieved for my friend. He's no longer here, but he's no longer suffering, and we'll see him another time. Hopefully I'm going in the same direction. One never knows. Anyway, as I said at the top, man, lots has happened since we last got together a few weeks ago. A thrilling finish to the season, and a couple of what I want to say, a couple of areas. The AL West went down to the final day. The Astros and the Rangers going right to the final. Did they win the division? Maybe I may have misspoke earlier. How do these? We'll get to it in a little bit. The Astros did get back into the playoffs, and the Rangers did not hold them off for the division title, but they did at least make it to the postseason, and they're in the ALCS against those Astros, who they struggled against. So we'll see how that goes. So there's 2 wild cards and 2 division winners in the LCS. The division winners, just to recap real quickly. I mean, obviously, you guys all know this. The Orioles won and are out. Too many days off. We have to stop this. I don't know how we're going to stop it. Too many wild cards leaves the. You would think that the winning division's important. Get rest, set up your rotation, but baseball teams are used to playing every day. They aren't used to having weeks off or days off. Gosh, come on, guys. Got to make some changes here. I don't know what they are, but it's got to stop. The wild card rounds aren't even competitive. All 4 of them were sweeps. So anyway, the Orioles win, the Astros win. We knew the Twins were going to win. In the wild cards were the Rays, the Rangers, and the Blue Jays. And Blue Jays and Rays put up very little fight in their first rounds. Every matchup was 0-2. In the National League, of course, the Braves are the best record in baseball, won the East. They're out as of last night. The Phillies knock them out. The Brewers win the Central. They go out the first round against a wild card team, and the Dodgers run away with the NL West and have nothing to show for it. And the wild cards there, of course, were the Phillies, the Marlins, and the Diamondbacks. And the Diamondbacks and the Phillies are in the NLCS against each other. Is this any way to pick a winner? You've got teams, you play entire season, you play 162 games. 162 games, folks. And you've got teams with 101 wins, 104 wins, and 100 wins, all home. Teams that finished 16 games out of their division in the NLCS. A team that finished maybe more, 14 games out of their division, playing for the right to go to the World Series for the NL. I don't want to bash the Diamondbacks and the Phillies, but this is no way to pick a champion. I'm sorry. It's not. Why play 162 games when it means nothing? You're going to play a 5-game series besides. Play the wild card rounds. Do whatever you want with them. Two games, 3 games, no games. Flip a coin. I don't care. These division series have got to be 7 games if this is the way the setup is going to be. I don't care that it's not my fault the season's going to go into December. Don't blame me. See Scott Cote here listening to me rant. Scott, how are you, buddy? Thank you for those kind words, Scott. And Dan, I know is, we all miss Dan, and we all had, our own relationships with Dan, and I know you did. And I cherish mine. And I'm glad. I thank you for the kind words about at the start of the college football show. I did do a 10-minute. Somebody had asked me to do a Isaiah, I believe his name was, to do a tribute to Dan, and I did. I went on for about 10 minutes, so I posted the whole thing. I don't know how much of it he'll use, but he may have asked you and some others. But thank you for that. And, it's all from the heart, man. He's a good man. He'll be missed greatly. Scott, are these days off because the series are ending so early and MLB has to accommodate TV? And that's, of course. Well, it's not set in stone because they can easily move days. They'll tell you that it's set in stone, I suppose. But then when there's only one game, like the Phillies and Braves were supposed to play at 6:00 last night, they moved that game to 8:30 because there was no other games to play. So they got the primetime slot and they move it. That's fair to the fans, right? We see that all the time in the postseason. Didn't used to be that way back in the day. I was okay. Of course, I grew up with it. And I'm sure people like me yelling at people to get off their lawns in 1969 were up in arms when they went to 2 divisions. Well, since they've gone to 3 divisions and a wild card, that was bad enough. But to add 2 more wild cards, too many days off. Again, bad enough for these division winners when they've got to sit around and wait for the wild card rounds. You'd think some people will think it helps them, gets their pitchers and rotation in order and get some injuries healed. But baseball teams are used to playing daily. And then you get here and they're going to, we can have travel days, but you should play 2 games, travel, 3 games, travel. And these division series have got to be 7 games. A team like the Dodgers and a team like the Braves winning 104 games, and the Orioles have great seasons pissed away because they had a couple of bad games and no chance to come back. Now, are the Braves going to come back from a 3-1 deficit? I don't know, but it's happened many times. Well, many times. Enough times that it's happened, to be able to say the possibility's there. They deserve that chance. I just hate the setup now. It's terrible. Dave Guyette, how are you, buddy? Yes, we want Cashman and Boone fired, and it's probably not going to happen. Sorry, buddy. Scott, I also got something else I want to get with. I need a chance to rebut Mr. Nick Bodkins. Scott, you had asked when I was talking with you guys last night. I am from New York, upstate New York. I'm a Yankee and a Patriot fan, and I need this relayed to Nick Bodkins because he implied I'm a bandwagon jumper. Nothing could be further from the truth. When I was coming of age in 1969, I'm an old guy, 69. I was 9 years old. The Mets had just won a World Series. The Jets had just won a Super Bowl. They were all fans of those teams, or they were fans of the Giants because their dads were in football. And I was a nonconformist even at 9 and 10 years old. I was a Yankee fan because they stunk. Nobody else rooted for them. We all were Met fans. And I was a Patriot fan because my friends were all Jet or Giant fans. And one friend who in 1970 took us to a game, a friend of his father's was a Patriot fan. It's a baseball show, but I feel I need to get it off my chest. I tried to type it all out last night, and by the time I got done, you guys were on to something else. So that's how I'm a Yankee and a Patriot fan. I sat there, Rod Russ, 1-15, freezing my ass off in 1989. It's season tickets for 13-ish years. Anyway, I felt like having that little rant, Scott. Sorry, because I didn't get a chance to do it. And I didn't like the way we left that. And I'm kidding halfway. I hope Nick doesn't think that I'm I happen to I don't know, whatever. Yeah, back to baseball. Is reseeding the way to go after the wild card round? First of all, you know what? If it was up to me, I'd go back to 1993, and we have 2 divisions in each league, and that's never going to happen because of TV, and we want more games. I think we should reseed. More important than reseeding, though, I don't care about the wild card rounds. They can do whatever they want with the wild card rounds. They can flip a coin for all I care. But these division series have got to be 7 games. They cannot be 5 games. and allow a hot wild card team like the Phillies, most up and down team in baseball this year, finishing 14 games out of first, and a hot Diamondback team. Well, they lost 4 in a row, actually, at the end of the season. But they caught fire in the postseason. They get some games under their belt, and then they got to go play the Dodgers or the Braves, who've been sitting around for days. They need to go to 7 games in these division series. And it's not my fault that the game is, we played on Thanksgiving. Could care. Yes, I could care less. But that's not my problem. You want to have 12 teams in the freaking playoffs. I can't count. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't know if reseeding helps, though. It would. I mean, if they had reseeded, Scott, what would have happened in the division series? We would have had, what would we have had? We would have had the Astros playing, who would they have played? The Astros would have played the Rangers a series earlier, right? I think. And you would have had the Orioles playing. No, I guess the Orioles would have played. No, they played the Rangers. The Orioles would have played the Twins, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, at least that way, the Orioles probably have a better chance. But again, it's not so much that I think the Orioles ought to be excused for losing. I think it's just frustrating. Dave Guyette, baseball is not the same as it was. No, nothing is, Dave. And I sit here and I can rant and rave all I want. Nothing will ever happen. In fact, I would fully expect Rob Manfred to add another playoff team to this before we're done. He wants to expand. We don't have enough good players now. Pitching stinks. And how about some situational hitting? Ronald Acuna is a great, great player. Great player. He's got the bases loaded last night. How about approaching that at bat a little differently? All I need is a base hit to tie the game, Ronald. Probable MVP. Maybe the best player in baseball. Don't be swinging for the fences 3 times. Nearly got it done. But again, no situational changes or no changes to situational baseball. And it just irritates the crap out of me. It's never going to be the same. God, when expansion happens, I would love to see when it happens. Stop. Again, I hope you're not advocating it, Scott. I'm thinking you're probably not. It's probably inevitable because Rob Manfred is he's dead set on every team or every city in the country having a freaking team, I guess. When it happens again, you would love to see them go to an AL an NL 16-team league with no divisions. No, that'll never happen. And if they do, they'll probably let 8 of them in. So what's that? It doesn't even change anything, right? The winning divisions doesn't mean anything anymore because the one advantage you supposedly get is the time off, and that is not an advantage in my mind. You do get home field, but you get to play a team that's already got some legs already. I know. Thanks, Scott. I'm half kidding. I didn't think he was that serious, but and one of the reasons I get so excited about that bandwagon thing is I've seen up here in upstate New York, I've seen so many bandwagon jumpers since 2000. Now, some of them are young, so, I can't really fault them for getting on a winning team's bandwagon. When I was 25 years old in the middle of going to games to Foxborough every Sunday or, 10 Sundays a year, there was nobody up here rooting for the Patriots. Me, my buddy who I had season tickets with, one of our teachers in high school, and maybe 5 other people that I knew of. I didn't know them all. Now there are a ton of bandwagon jumpers. Dick McPherson. You know, I love Dick McPherson, by the way. I don't want to get off too many tangents here because it is baseball, but I love Dick McPherson. But the team wasn't any good. Man, they were bad. They were so bad in the late 80s, early 90s. And we got out of there like just after Parcells came in and turned things around because, wives, all that type of thing. It's a long day. We would leave here from we were about 20 at the time. I lived about 25 miles from Albany, west of Albany. And we would drive 3.5 hours. We'd get up, we'd leave at 5:15, and we'd get there just as they opened the gates, and we would tailgate until game time. And then we'd stop on the way home to watch the end of the late games, and we'd get home about 10 o'clock at night. It was a long day. So when we got married, we didn't continue. Well, we did for a while, but I say my buddy's wife ended it. He says my ex-wife ended it. So whatever. Arizona, Braves, Phillies, Dodgers, Rangers, Astros, Orioles, Twins. What is that? What is that? Arizona Braves. Oh, I see. That's would have been the matchups, right? Arizona Braves, Phillies, Dodgers, Rangers, Astros, Orioles, Twins. So I forgot to go to the National League. Yeah, reseeding may have changed some things, but the overall premise that I have that teams that finish 14 and 16 games out in their division are playing each other. We've had a lot of wild card teams win World Series, and I'm tired of it. Football a little bit different because of the short season. I'm going to play 162 games. I'm going to play for 6 months. And I'm going to determine who's going to the championship series in each league in 5-game series. I should be happy they're not 2 out of 3. Oh, it's frustrating, Scott. I'm telling you. Oh. I didn't think you were advocating for it. Again, Rob Manfred is, though. He's already got bad market in Oakland. Team probably moving to Vegas, and they'll probably screw that up. You got Tampa, who wants to play half their games in Montreal or move. They're trying to build a new stadium, but who's going to come? Nobody comes. That team is good year after year. They average 17,000 people a night. Those fans should be ashamed. I understand it's a horrible ballpark. But if you're not going to get out and support your team, I have no sympathy when your team leaves. So move these teams to these other cities. Nashville, the area is growing like crazy. Charlotte, the area is growing like crazy. I get it. They'll probably come to the games. But I don't need expansion teams and making a weak product even weaker. And change your approach, guys. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I figured it out because I went to Perth High School. If you give me 20 minutes, I'll figure out these problems on my own. CA, my man, how are you, buddy? CA got to be in his glory with the Rangers and the Astros. A little dilemma for you there, Mr. C. I assume you're rooting for the Astros. And listen, I think this will be a great series. Don't get me wrong. This is the one series I like. I picked the Astros to repeat. Tried to get that in last night on your show, Scott. They know how to win. I try to win. They know how to win, and that matters. When you get to the postseason, it matters. Having been there and been through it matters. Now, I get it. The Dodgers have been there, and they can't win. Mark Mancini, I'm sure, is posting every 5 minutes on Facebook about the Dodgers without answering any questions about, his Pirates, who haven't won anything since 1979. But I like this Texas Astros series. I was dead wrong. Alan Perales, I told you the other night, I apologize. I don't apologize, but I was wrong. I told you I admit when I'm wrong. I was dead wrong on the Rangers. Twice, actually, because I thought they were going to spit the bit at the end. I really thought they would spit the bit. And they came back and earned their way into the postseason. And the Astros earned their way to the division title because they won 4 in a row. Rangers have struggled with the Astros. This is going to be a great series, and the Astros know how to win. Again, I was trying to put that in. I had it typed in, and then I took it back because it was going to go to the whole cheating thing and whatnot. I'm not tired of the Astros. I like watching good teams and teams who know how to play good baseball play, and the Astros know how to play good baseball. They can win without scoring or hitting, 11 home runs in a series. And I don't care about the cheating scandal. I swear to God, it's the most overblown thing since Spygate, since Deflategate. Always find a way to rip down the good teams. Yankee fans, I'm one. Dodger fans, guess what? Score runs and you win series. You not hitting has nothing to do with them stealing signs. CA. Scotty's talking of CA. CA's got to be happy. He's a little slow responding sometimes, Scott, because he's on a different wavelength than the rest of us. He's on that dart delay. But he's got to be happy with this series. They do, yes, and I'm tired of seeing them rule the American League and the Astros. I'm not. I like watching good teams play. And if we're tired, we got to get our teams. You're a Red Sox fan, Scotty. I'm a Yankee fan. I said this, and again, this applies to all the people who are tired of the Patriots over 20 years, right? I said, get better. Tell your teams to get better and beat us. If you're tired of watching the Astros, then the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Rangers have their chance now. I get why you want to root against the Astros. I'm fine with that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I like Dusty Baker a lot. I like this Astros team a lot. I like the way they play the game. I like the way they pitch. I like the way they approach situational baseball. Unlike guys like Ronald Acuna swinging for the fences with the bases loaded, 2 outs, and needing 2 runs. Game was over at that point. Now, he might have hit a home run. Almost got away with one there because the Philly center fielder, Castro, I think it was, misplayed it. But he got it. But having said that much, I respect the Astros and what they've done. You've got to. I mean, it's impossible not to. I get why you want to root against teams. Look at fatigue is a real thing. I don't get it. I like watching really good teams. Whether it's college football, whether it's a professional football, and we got that ride for 20 years. Most teams don't. And when you're winning for a long time, fans want to find a reason to hate you, right? And they found a way to hate the Astros, just like they found a way to hate the Patriots. CA's excited. Glad to have both have a chance. The commission ruined your childhood dreams of both meeting in the World Series. Makes a good point. We talk a lot about expansion and them going to 3 divisions. But part of all that realignment was the Astros going to the American League, the Brewers going to the National League, which I did. Again, I hated that. And now I am old and I want what I want. What I want is it to be 1980 or 1993, and we got 2 divisions again. Not going to happen. Scott talks about going to, no divisions. I mean, they could do it. The way they're running baseball and the way they let teams get into the playoffs anyway. The divisions, what do they don't even matter. Get one division winner in the playoff, in the championship series. One. So what's the advantage? I'll give you your hey Scott back from CA. Anyway, let's look at this. Let's look quickly. My notes are gone here. By the way, I forgot to mention that we have and I'll mention it again at the bottom of the show. I was talking about DDH. You'll hear DDH a lot on my shows, guys, and you'll know what that means going forward. Ralph, we have an affiliation kind of cross-promoting. We'll do some stuff on each other's shows. Ralph Williams from RW Media. He does a bunch of shows, including the Sports Corner with Smokin' Jim Frazier. It's on 12:30 a.m. and 99.3 FM WBVP in Pittsburgh. Check him out. Ralph does some really good stuff. Some of his stuff outside of the Sports Corner is really good, too. He does a lot of, local politics and that type of thing. He does a lot of stuff, but pretty cool. Look who's in the room today is our good buddy, Don. Hello, Don. How are you, buddy? Get another new profile picture up. You're the king of the profile pictures. Don has asked us for some betting advice through the years, and I think we've done pretty good by you, Don. I don't know whether you've kept track. Most of it's been college football, which you missed the show Wednesday night. Hopefully we're not going to get too many. I'll give you a couple college picks if I have to. And if you want to, I'll give you my opinion on baseball. You know what? I made one bet on baseball. One bet so far. I bet the Braves last night. The only bet I made. I've been kicking ass in college football. And I should never have made that wager. Kicking ass in college football and doing okay in the pros. And I usually try to give my picks on who I'm betting before I give my picks for college on Wednesday night. I'll give my picks for the pros on Sunday morning. But good to have you with us again, Don. CA says, how can the commission also be part owner of a club? Corruption is why. Well, at that time, that's sure right. It's not true now. But at the time, it was Bud Selig, who they named interim commissioner. I think he was the interim commissioner for years and still part owner, or not part owner, by the way. He owned the Brewers. Now, he gave control over to his daughter, but he never divested himself of that team, I don't believe. All the time he was commissioner. That's not the problem now, but at the time, yes, that was a big problem. And Bud Selig wanted to get back to the National League. He was a Braves fan when they were there. Bud Selig, Bud Selig is a big problem. Of a lot of things that happen in baseball was because of Bud Selig turning a blind eye to all of it. We won't get into it all today. AM radio is around. I listen to a lot of AM radio. How old are you, Scott? You're not as old as me, apparently. I do listen to AM radio. WGY here in upstate New York. I'll listen to the Yankees on ENT out of Johnstown. Been listening to them since I was a wee boy on the same radio station. Dodd lost on the second or third game with the Astros versus the Twins and had under 9.5, and they went over by 10. Yeah, listen, that's the problem with baseball's hard to bet, man. I just pick a winner. Play the money lines. I don't play runs and over-unders. It's too hard in baseball. Speaking of which, by the way, we were talking a little bit about the early series. How is Brian Schneider going to keep his job with the Blue Jays after what they did last year, blowing a 9-0 lead in a wild card round to lose that series to the Indians, and then this year he's got Jose Barrios cruising for 3 innings with 6 strikeouts and I think no runs. And I know they didn't think you could go how long. They didn't think you'd go the whole game. Nobody can, obviously. But how about paying attention? They had a game plan. They had a game plan all written out, just like I say, talk about freaking Boone all the time. There go my glasses again. I just picked them up off the floor. And they say, well, that's it. 3 innings. That's it. Does anybody watch what's going on in the field? Anybody. Just want one guy to pay attention. 6 strikeouts in 3 innings. Cruising. You can't send him out there until he gets in trouble. And it's not him. It's an epidemic. How many times you see a guy come in, go 1, 2, 3, strikeout side, or hell, get 2 ground balls and a fly out and have 5 pitches in the 7th inning? Do we bring him back out for the 8th? No, because his job is to pitch the 7th inning, not the 8th. I got a script here that says John Smith comes in the 8th inning. Not update much, am I? Except my bad attitude. Yes, and I have a few if you can help me out. Sure, throw them out there. We'll do them. You go back and watch, but throw them out. Dad, we'll do them quickly. The baseball show, but we'll do them quickly. You know me, I'll help you out. Scott says he's done well in college and the NFL. Last time you bet SMU over. Nice bet. By the way, I did have a bad West Virginia bet last night. I bet West Virginia last night, and that was a bad beat, man. They should have covered. There were only 3 in the Dana Hogelsberg, if I'm saying his name correct. I never say his name right. Bowl. Bad Houston team. They got a lead, and they give up 14 straight points at the end and lose the game. And the cover. Ugh. 52. I don't know. What is that? Oh, I bet SMU over 30, and they scored 31. The over is 52. What was it? 31-10, I think, wasn't it? I do like an over. Dan, I'll give you one pick. The pick I like a lot Saturday is the over Notre Dame USC. I'm just going to sit back and watch that game. Root for scores. I'm going to have to root. It's going to happen. CA, as the Brewers were in the American League originally, just made sense to go back. Well, the Brewers were in the American League their entire existence. Milwaukee had a National League team for decades. They moved from Boston to Milwaukee, then to Atlanta. Just made sense to go back. Lance Berkman was right. I don't know what Lance Berkman said, but why did it make sense to send Houston to the American League? None. Geographically trying to match things up. That's all. Bad beat. Love North Texas over Temple this week. That's a good one. Let's get back to some baseball. Let's look at these series. So as we go through this, now we're where are we? We can't go long anymore either because of Roku, but we got the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. I said the Diamondbacks would be really good last year. Or next year, sorry. And they're a year ahead of where I thought they'd be. This is a good young club, lots of speed, good defense, good young manager. Beat 2 really good clubs in the Brewers and the Diamondbacks. I'm sorry, Brewers and the Dodgers. Now they get the Phillies who are on a tear. The Phillies did this last year. And, the Phillies, as long as they're hitting home runs, they're going to win. Harper's a great story. He's ripped the Phillies. That's a good guy to really rile up, by the way, Arcia. That's a great guy to rile up because he's only hit like 5 home runs and driven in 15 runs the last 2 postseasons against you. Hit a gazillion. One thing I'll say about the Phillies is I'm glad to see Castillo have a bit of a redemption season. He's had a good season for the Phillies this year. 2 home runs last night. Because the fans beat him up bad last year. Trey Turner, 4 for 4 last night, I believe. Maybe 4 for 5, but he's come along at late in the season. He's another guy who it looked like he was going to be a bust in Philadelphia, and he's come back nicely. So congratulations to them. I like the Diamondbacks in this series. I really do. The one problem is they're short of starting pitching. They've got 2 really good starters. But the Phillies, with Suarez pitching better now, I think Philadelphia's got a little advantage in the starting pitching. The bullpens, I think, are going to be fairly even. And they've got better power. But I like the way, again, the Diamondbacks play the game a little bit differently. They don't rely on guys hitting the ball out of the park right and left. So when the power is gone, the thing that I hate about the Yankees and so many other teams is that when you're not hitting home runs, you can't score runs. Diamondbacks and the Astros know how to manufacture runs. I like the Astros over the Rangers in this series. Sorry, Scott. I think they match up well. I do think the starting pitching for the Astros is a little bit better. I think the bullpens are pretty close. But I just like the veteran presence. I mean, the Rangers don't have a lot of guys who have been in this position before. Corey Seager, but he's lost with the Dodgers. Well, he was probably on the World Series team. But again, that was a COVID-shortened season, so it's got a little asterisk next to it. But they don't have a lot of guys who have been through this before. Scherzer is still doubtful. They're going to make a decision on him, I believe, today. Maybe they already have. But I don't even think he's a key. I think they might be better off without Scherzer the way he's pitched. Verlander's pitched pretty well when he got back to the Astros. And if I give Verlander in a big game, I'm all over him. It should be a fun series. This could be a 7-game series. But I like the Astros in their veteran presence. And I still like the Astros to win it all. Before the season, I picked the Astros to beat the Braves. That won't happen. But I can still get the Astros in there. Should be some fun games. Let's take a quick look at the schedule. I see your comments coming up, and I'll get to them in just a second. The Rangers and Nationals will kick it off Sunday. Of course, every one of these games will be go until midnight, but maybe they won't. Last night's game was over at a decent 11 o'clock. I can try to make it up that late. They'll play Sunday, Monday, travel, play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we got good baseball rhythm to these series. If they go 7, the final would be at the Astros on Monday, October 23rd. And the Phillies have the home field advantage. They will play Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't get this one. This is the one I don't get. See, because the 3. I see the 3 middle games. I get it. Okay, never mind. I misspoke here. Oh, there's one I don't like. Game 6 and Game 7. I'm reading something wrong. No, I take it back. They're playing a regular baseball schedule here. Well done. World Series will start on October 27th, and if it goes 7 games, end on the 4th. All right, what do we got here? San Jose State versus New Mexico. Boy, those are 2 bad teams, man. Dad, you're making it tough on me. Oh, God. I would say bet the over because San Jose State can put some points on the board. But New Mexico is very bad. I got to say under. I got to say under in that game. Scott's got a future on the Phillies, 200. What's the plus 200? That's now. When do you make that bet? That's got to be now, right? They had to be much higher than plus 200 anytime before this. So I'm assuming you made that bet today. Rangers need to win a game one. Astros don't have to do so. So that's my take on the AL Series advantage. It's a good point. I think the Rangers do need to. I do think the Rangers, it's important for the Rangers to set a tone and get some momentum in this series. They've got to win a game in Houston to start this series. They can't, I don't think, the old idiom is that the series doesn't really get, and no series gets started until the home team loses a game. But I don't believe that the Rangers, can afford to go home down 2 games to the Astros, because the Astros, I believe, will take at least one in Texas. If they win 2, if they open up 2-0, they're going to win one. That game may not come back to Houston if that happens. If they split the first 2 games, I can see this game. I could even see the Rangers coming back to Houston up 3-2 and then going 7 games on an Astros victory. How about that? Don, all over the good teams here. Boise's playing better. Boise State, Colorado is liking the points with Colorado State. That game moved them up to 10 points. Where is that game, by the way, Don? You're really making it hard on me here, bud. Let me just see where that game is. And then we'll Mountain West, by the way, I always say very underrated conference. Let me just see where they're playing that game. At Colorado State, they're getting 10 at home. I may not like that. May not be a bad bet. That might not be a bad bet. Take the points, and if it's 10 points, I can't see it. I didn't pull up the right schedule, but Don likes the Phillies in this series. I like the D-backs. I really do. I like the Diamondbacks. I think it'll be Astros, Diamondbacks. Astros win the series in 6. Phillies advance again. Everybody's against me. But taking it rough. Flat out, Astros can hit the hell out of the ball. They can. Well, you know what? They can. As I said, they score runs without hitting home runs. That still matters in today's game. The 3 true outcomes, where are the teams with the 3 true outcomes right now? I don't think the Rangers are really that team. The Astros are not that team. The Phillies are. And the Diamondbacks are not. So look at the 3 true outcome teams and where they are. They're either home because they didn't make the playoffs. Do we know the game 1 matchup is Gallen versus Wheeler? Do we know that yet? Let's see. Let's find out. MLB schedule. Let's see if they've named pitchers yet. Texas right now is undecided against Verlander. And that's Sunday. We start Saturday. Hold on. Maybe I'm wrong here. Undecided against Verlander in game 1. I don't have a pitching. Yeah, game 1 for Arizona, Philadelphia. They still have not announced a matchup. That's a great matchup, by the way. Gallen's one of the best young pitchers in baseball. This kid has really, I think, turned a corner, and he's going to be a good young pitcher until he's not young anymore. You like Wheeler in that matchup? I like Gallen myself. I mean, Philadelphia has a home field advantage. That helps them. Again, very similar to the Rangers. I think getting one of these first 2 games is going to be really important to the Diamondbacks. Right after, that makes sense. That's still a pretty good wager. Don was looking for a plus game this week, and I think I found one in the Wake Forest versus Virginia Tech. They're both bad this year. Wake is one of my favorite because Larry Sorensen, former Major League pitcher Larry Sorensen, Great pitcher with the Brewers. Well, he had some great seasons with the Brewers, and then he moved on to the Cardinals and the A's and a couple other teams. He has been doing Wake Forest football analysis and baseball analysis for the last several years, and he is a good friend of the college football show and comes on quite a bit. We haven't had him on in a few weeks. We got to get him on. It is homecoming for Colorado State, always a good thing. So take the points. Take the points. If they're on the blue field in Boise, I'd be the other way. Trying to stay away from these big games. Huskies win, since you all talking about college football. I'm assuming you're talking about Washington. I like Washington against Oregon this weekend. I don't want to get into too much. Again, we'll recap Wednesday's picks and whatnot on Sunday, but I did pick Washington over Oregon. That's a tough game, though. Those are very two evenly matched teams. Don, go to Michigan for the over 38 team total. That's a good one, too. Don likes to go to the obscure games, though, Scott. And we've been pretty good giving him some help with those games that I wouldn't normally bet. But Scott, you bet some, or Don, you bet some overs. We just talked about an over a few minutes ago, 56 in one of the games, New Mexico and San Jose State. That's what he's talking about. How confident are you that Michigan is score against Indiana defense? From what I've seen, Sean, so Indiana can't score. They do have a new offensive coordinator there. Tom Allen fired his offensive coordinator. I don't think Michigan will score 38. I think this will be like a 35-10 score. So I like the over there too. Scott can make his own pick. There's Drew with us. Managed to get tied up on travel plans and missed me again. We'll get you on. I want to have you on soon anyway, Drew. Maybe we got to recap the season a little bit. Maybe we can do it next week before the World Series. When's the World Series start? Week after next? I got to look at the. Maybe I don't think it starts till the 27th. We may wait till that week. You can't get more obscure than that. We're talking too much college football today. You're welcome, Don, as always. Don't forget the college football huddle, 7 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesdays, and we can cover this stuff a lot better, Don. Still going to do more baseball Friday broadcasts, or is this it? No, I'll keep going. No, we're gonna continue through the playoffs. I think I did baseball. I think I did the MLB update almost every week during the off season last year. So we'll probably do something. Some of the shows would be shorter than others. When I started doing this, when Dan Harris, who again, God rest his soul, DDH. And he had me asked me to start doing it. I only did a 20-minute show or so, and then it got to be a full hour. And because I think I started it during the off season, so we really didn't have that. Some weeks we didn't just have that much to talk about. Some weeks we had a lot. So we'll continue to go through the off season. We could take a week off here and there, but as a rule, we'll be on. Michigan has to win stylistically. See them putting up 40. I'm not going to, you guys can continue the football conversation amongst yourselves in the conversation. I'm not going to continue down that road. We did an hour and a half the other day. Drew, we still got, I only got 6 minutes left. But we can, Drew, I talked about this at the top too. I think the setup in baseball really sucks and it needs to change somehow. We should not have two teams that finish a combined 32 games out of first place playing for the NL championship. We just shouldn't. Whatever. I mean, nothing against the Diamondbacks and the Phillies. And if they beat them in a 7-game series, I would have much less of a problem. These division series have got to go to 7 games. And you've got to find a way for and maybe you need to take teams away. Please don't add teams so that everybody can play out of the gate. I don't think the rest for these teams on the buys are helping them at all. Baseball has a certain rhythm to it. Players are used to playing every day. So it does suck for the Orioles. The Dodgers, listen, please. And I know, again, I talked about Mark Mancini likely having a field day posting every 5 minutes, but for the Dodgers to win 100 games this year with the injuries that they had to that pitching staff and other positions, they lost their starting shortstop before the season started. Great job by Dave Roberts. Great job by Dave Roberts. You can bust them all you want, Mark. You could say they haven't won a World Series in a full season since 1988. But the team that you claim to root for, because the Padres are no good, the Pittsburgh Pirates haven't won anything since 1979. We're going to get Mark back on because, and we'll do some of that. I talked to his buddy Sal the other day. Dodgers' big guns had not come through. No, listen, I saw a stat the other day. Their Hall of Fame trio had 1 hit and 1 inning between them. Kershaw, Mookie, and Freeman. But again, they shouldn't have been sitting around for 4 days, 5 days. I don't know how many days it was. I can't remember now. It had to be at least 4 days. That's not a normal routine in baseball. I wonder when Tim's blown away exactly. Should have been 7-game series. They have to be 7-game series. It's just not fair to. The wild card again. You can flip a coin, and I could care less. But you get to the division series, and you got division winners playing against wild card teams, and we're going to decide them in a short 5-game series, and it's BS, and it needs to stop. Rob Manfred, do something right for a change. Don't tell me, the season goes too long anyway. Season goes too long because of you as it is. I don't care if the season goes to freaking Thanksgiving. You've got to make this an even playing field for the teams that go out there and win 100 games. They should have some kind of advantage in the playoffs. Atlanta folds again. Again, I got a big problem. Atlanta deserved to lose this game last night. Acuna goes up there in the 8th inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs, and he's swinging for the fences 3 times. No sense of situational baseball on too many of these teams and too many of these star players. He's the best player in baseball. And I get it. Home run probably wins you the game. But you can't win a game until you tie the game. Oh, we're going to be done here in a second, guys. We're going to have to wrap it up. DDH, you're my man. Godspeed to you. We'll talk about you in depth one more time. Please, guys, if you're a fan of the shows I did with Dan Harris, the Let's Talk New York Sports, or watch any of Dan's shows on Let's Talk Sports. Scott is a big part of Let's Talk Sports. Watch some of the tributes that are there for Dan. I know quite a few people have done them. Scott and his crew, Nick and Johnny have done theirs, and I did a 10-minute one the other day because I needed that much time to talk about it. Ironic that Houston barely makes it and now seems to be returning to form. I called this. We're going to wrap it up here because we're going to get kicked off of Roku anyway. What's the biggest movie you see coming this offseason? Two guys to watch: Ohtani, Juan Soto. Watch out for the Yankees and Juan Soto. Even though he can't play left field, I don't know where they're going to play him. Watch out for those guys. And the managerial carousel, too. We'll get into that next week. 4 jobs open now. Mets, Indians. He formerly known as the Indians. Angels, maybe Buck Showalter and play with the Angels, by the way, and the Giants. So we'll talk about all of that, and maybe you're going to have more openings possibly with the Brewers and the Padres, and who knows, with a couple of surprises. Maybe Bud Black with the Rockies. So lots to watch for. Next week we'll talk about more of that, and enjoy the series as they get started this weekend. Regardless of my ranting and raving about who's there and who's not, enjoy it. Baseball's still America's pastime. And we'll catch you next Friday at 3 p.m. And we'll catch you Sunday with the Stream of Consciousness. BDH, rest in peace. We'll see you guys later. Have a great, great, great weekend, guys. Bye-bye.